Welcome everyone, this is Gwydion. In today's video, I am going to show you how I've put Under Ashen Skies, which is a discovery horror game by Alan Bahr and Alex T. I'm going to show you how I put that into Sojour, which is a solo virtual tabletop. Now, I'm not quite sure at this point if I'll be able to release it, but stay tuned and if possible, if I can get permission, then I will probably pull out some of the information I'm showing you because there's so many tables in here. I don't want to include all the copyrighted information, but perhaps some of the tables that I've done and some of the tokens for the monsters and calendar that I've implemented, etc. So, well, we'll see. I'll let you know in the comments if I'm able to get permission. So for now, I'm going to show you everything I've done. So if you look at the top left of Sojour up here, typically you'll just see this Gregorian calendar, and I actually created one for Under Ashen Skies. I wasn't sure I wanted to do that, and if you look at it, it's very similar to the standard calendar that you would know for, you know, just the current world, Earth. So I do have January through December. That's all the same. I did weeks 1 through 4, and what I wanted to do is I wanted to include a notation that every day is presided over something called a proto-genoa. So that's part of the game, and I wanted to signify that. So that's why I did this, and I just decided just create 4 weeks in every month so that you could show every day of the week, Monday through Friday, and then I'll also show you why that's significant and what I do with that. That's the calendar. So as you get into kind of the core rulebook and the campaign, you'll see I haven't created any campaign assets yet. Here's my calendar. You'll see, which is the campaign calendar. And as you look at it, if I can make this, I don't know if I can make this any bigger. I don't think I can. But if you look at it, you'll see at the top, it'll signify what day of the week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, etc. And then underneath it, the proto-genoa that is presiding over that day. And it does come with effects. So what I did, and there might be a better way to do this, is I included an event for every day of the week and made it recurring so that every time you switch days, a message will pop up in chat that explains what day you are on and what the proto-genoa is that presides over it. And then finally it says roll for effect. And all that means is I have a table in here you can roll on to determine the effect for that day. So more on that when we get into the journal. Under characters, right now I have everything except the template character deactivated. But what I do have in here are things called the make, and also I think I put the NPC template in here, and I think, and also what are called dramatis personae. So they're special NPCs that you can meet and that can become part of the game, and you can meet them multiple times. So the way I've designated right now, if it's a make or a dramatis personae, and you could look in the book to see this, but I actually created a yellow ring for the dramatis personae. They all have 1 wounds. They all have dodge, melee, and ranged combat skills. And I think you roll. I don't remember if you roll for those, but like in here, I've included the description and what happens each time you meet this dramatis personae. So you can look in the rulebook more about that, but that's what this is. And if I get to one of the make, I created those and made those purple. Let me hide this for now. 1 second. There we go. So this one with a purple ring around it is a make. And you can see I've got the trackable characteristics as wounds, defense, and bleed thresholds. I also have a notation that this one appears only in one of the locations. I think there's 5 locations in Under Ashen Skies. I've also got the description, which includes all the information around wounds, attacks, special talents, special attacks, and if you do defeat the make, you get a special gift. I have that listed in here as well. and also the whole description. For now, I just put in these letter tokens that I can include as part of the Creative Commons license. So that's those. Let me close those down. And then here's a template character. So you can make this your own and create your own character, but you'll see that it has trackable characteristics of wounds, trauma, stamina. I did this. We'll see how it plays out, but my goal was there's a lot of things that can modify your checks in Under Ashen Skies. If you get wounds, just if there's certain events. So I thought it might be helpful to just keep, maybe in the notes section, I can keep track of my modifiers and then just have my kind of my net modifier here so that I always know what it is. We'll see if that works in practice. And then character sheet. This is the form fillable character sheet. You'll notice I already have some of the clothing and equipment that's on here on this template. And the reason is that comes standard when you make a new character. So that's just part of your starting character. All right, let's get into documents. So a lot of documents, and this is where I'll have to determine what I can and can't release. But if you look at these like Bahr Gardens, this is one of the sites. So you can see there's a description of the site. And this is how I'm starting to implement my games in Sojour. I do have the entire core rulebook that I can pull up and search, but I also have snippets. So if I just want to put up like, hey, what's Bahr Gardens and what's that location about? What do I need to know? I can just click on that. And then Brooks High School, same thing. This is just the description. I can make that bigger if I want and read it or what have you. And then some of the tables. Now this is where I don't know that I don't think I would include this entire table, at least the PDF of the table. I would not, because I want people to have to buy the game, and including this might be a little bit too much. And same for the rest of these. There's descriptions of things like the dramatis personae, and that's right out of the core rulebook. I just put them into chunks so that it was easier and I could keep them up on screen if I wanted. All right, this flowchart is something I created for Under Ashen Skies, and we make it a little bit bigger. What it does, and you see these for other people have created these for like Caernathalis, but it starts on the left-hand side, like you choose a site. You roll for your site, travel time. You have to come up with what's called a cold factor for the site, and then how many possible ambush encounters. Then you get into exploration. So do you have a light source? If you do, then there's no impact. If you don't, there's +1 trauma. And I can include this. I'm sure I can, because this is something I created. If you're cautious, you will add +1 to the time tracker. If you're in the devouring, other things happen. And then I get into encounter rolls and where you cautious are. And finally, I do have more specific combat encounter here. And again, oh shoot. Oh yeah, that's per round. That's right. I thought I had a mistake there. But if you don't have a light source, then you get +1 trauma per round. So that's that. More tables. I also just created this, and I'll release this on Alex T's Black Earth Entertainment website. But I came up with what I'm calling like their modifier / trackers. I just wanted them in one PDF. So I've got all the conditions over here, and then this way I can quickly say, what happens if I'm blinded? What does it do? -5 to all combat and sight-related skills. So that's easy there. Privation. So if you start starving, you don't eat or drink, these are the things that can happen to you. Your nemesis. So that's basically a clone of you that's stalking you the entire game, which is interesting. And this shows like, when do you advance the nemesis track and how much do you advance it by? Other modifiers are modifiers based on if you have wounds, if you have trauma, a certain number of trauma, and also warmth. If your warmth is less than the cold factor at the location, and then you might have a modifier. So you will look at every 2 points, your warmth is lower than the cold factor, you're going to take -1 off all skills. That's why I created that check modifier. Trauma. So if you have no light source, you get 1 trauma per combat round, or 1 trauma. I'd see a typo there I'll have to fix. 1 trauma per room explored. If you enter the devouring, 5 trauma. I might add some pluses to those too to make them look nicer. So that's that. Neme is basically your experience. So if you kill a Phonos, which is one of the monsters, so just think of it as like basically a standard monster. If you're thinking of your typical role playing game, that's just kind of a basic monster, whereas the Make are really your boss monster. So you get amount of Neme equal to the wounds of the Phonos that you kill. I didn't see exactly how much you get, if anything, for killing a Make, which was interesting. But look at that again. Investigation tracks, time tracking. This reminds me that I have to advance the time tracking sheet. There's that. NPCs, phonoi, room contents. One thing I'll show you for like room contents and room features. So contents are going to be just kind of basic things within the room. So if you, well, when I say basic things, your room might have specific features within the room, and then you're also going to be rolling on the room contents, and that's either going to be possibly a discovery, event, or encounter. So this will list those, and these are generic. The room contents are. The room features are unique to the location you're in. So you're going to have 100 of these. I think there's actually 50. You'll roll on a D100 and to determine the specific features of the room. So if I recall correctly, you'll have both features and room contents in the form of a discovery or an event that would be tracked separately. But the reason I show this is you would typically just roll a D100 and then you would, read the description and you'll know what the room feature's about. The other thing I did, and I think Alex liked the idea. It's not necessarily part of the game, but I created document templates. So you can pull these up. And the reason I did this is I created these as form fillable so that in my view, like I want to experience everything. So I thought I could roll on the apartment block feature. And let's just say I rolled a 12. I could check this off and I could continue checking these off. And once I've gotten through everything, if I'm still exploring the apartment, then maybe I start over and reset. So I created these to have these checkboxes. And the way you would activate those is you'd go into documents, add a document, name it whatever, apartment, block, 1, or whatever you want to name it. Then in the drop down, you would find the apartment room features, and that's going to pull up the form fillable sheet for the apartment. All right, so that's that. Rulebook is the rulebook, stamina cost, starting gear, just other things I created. But I also did include just the section out of the rulebook, and I wanted to show this briefly. So tracking time. The reason I wanted to show this is on your character sheet, so you can definitely track it there. And I actually have a form fillable character sheet that's attached to your character sheet that you can click on the day of the week, and maybe I'll show that quickly. Pull up my template character and the character sheet, pull it over here. So let's make that, if I can make it bigger, can I expand it? Thought I could expand it. Let me look down here. I think this one is the bigger, character sheet, and I think I can expand this. So let's do that. Excellent. And even expand it over a little bit, possibly. There you go. All right, so you'd have your name, you'd have all these skills, everything listed. So here is the time tracker. So you can drop these down to the different days of the week, just to remind yourself. And then you also have cycles. So every 10, not rounds, but I forget what these are called. The entirety of this is a cycle. But I guess each little tick on the time tracking sheet here, you can click on these so you know how far you've gone into a time tracker or into this cycle. So 10 cycles make up a day, or is it? Yeah, 10 cycles make up a day. And then also every third cycle will trigger the devouring. But let's just stay on the 10 cycles for now. So you go through 10 cycles, then you'll switch over into the day. So I thought it was important to be able to track these. Now you will want to track these here because this tells you when you'll have to like change batteries or light a torch or what have you. And it is important that included in errata here, your torches and or batteries last one entire cycle, even though this shows you have to change them like 3 times. So just pick one of the wedges here on the time tracker to determine when you exchange your light source, or you have to light a new light source. So you'll have to track, I think, this part here. But then as far as the cycles, what I did, so now let's get into, is there anything else I want to show here? Room features, room contents. Again, those are all. Yeah, actually, before I go over the journal and show you what we were just talking about, let's look at maps. Now this I would not include because this definitely is intellectual property. I wouldn't want to include the maps of, but you can see, and I have other videos that show you how to set the scale, but here's apartment block 1. If you get into the devouring, there's a whole separate look and feel. I mean, it's the same apartment building, but everything looks different and bizarre. And that's the same for all of the different locations. So you've got that. And token palettes, I'll look at that quickly. Actually, let me get out of the map. And let's look at the token palette. So these are AI, so I think I can release these, or I just have the token, letter token. But let's look at an all shine. I think I'm pronouncing that right. So if you look at this all shine, these are phonoi. I've got the wounds defense awareness, which is perception for those of you that play D&D 5e, bleed threshold, and then description. So I've got all the information on that phonoi, if there's special attacks or what have you. It's all right here, and you can drag these tokens onto the map when you get into an encounter. All right, so let's go into my test character. So again, control 1 will basically trigger my character and speaking. So that can be useful if you want. But you also have all the tables to roll on. So like here's my ambush table, and it tells you have 5 possible encounters. You can note that on your character sheet. I also have an attribute skill check. It may or may not be useful to use this. What I did is I did it to where if you have modifiers, you can say, hey, yeah, I've got a +5 modifiers, apply the modifier. I rolled a 19. Honestly, it might be just as easy to come down here and say, hey, it's 1d20 plus maybe my score is a 6, so I get a 6, and then it tells you rolled a 13, and it tells you the detail. That's probably going to be just as easy. And then if you have like advantage, disadvantage, probably just do like maybe a 1d20 plus 1d20, and then take the higher of the two and add your modifier. So in this case, I would take the 19 if I had advantage. But you can see up here at the top, I say Monday, Morai. So it's already telling you you're on Monday. And you can advance this either in the text, like if I want to say plus 1d, it'll add 1 day. So you can see that advance that to Tuesday, which is an Ananke. And it tells you right here, today is Tuesday. And this is why I created the description event for every day of the week. So now as soon as you change that day, it'll prompt you Ananke rules, roll for effect. So then what you would do is you'd go up to your tables and you would find, if I did that, yeah. So Ananke is Tuesday, and then you would roll on that table. And so you have -2 rations if you find any. So that's one way. The other way you can do it is you can advance not only the hour, but the cycles. So the way Sojour calendars are set up, they're still designated in hours and minutes. So I don't know if I updated the minutes. I might look at that, but on the hours, if I click through this 10 times, it'll roll through 10 cycles and then go to your next day. So let's do that. Here's one, and it says hour. I don't think I can change the name on that. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So now at the 10th, I'm into Wednesday Aurea. So you could do this manually on your own. You don't have to do this. You could just do it on the character sheet. But I thought it was cool that you could also do it here. And I don't remember, let me click this 10 times. I don't remember if I changed the minutes. Let's go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I might be able to update that. Let me see if I do one more. Yeah. So I think right now you might have to go 60 minutes to have an hour go by. So I won't like show that in here, but that's mainly it. I mean, it took me quite a while to put all these assets in. And again, I do have the core rulebook as an asset, but I'm going to work with Alex T and Alan Bahr. And if I pull out, to me, mainly the documents, I mean, I hope the tables, although I have a lot of them, I have tables for, I didn't put tables in for all of the events because my plan was you could look those up. You could do what I did and just print to PDF, either the entire rulebook. So you could literally just play it off of the rulebook. If I can open it. Why isn't it letting me open the rulebook? There's that. Oh, because the rulebook's already open. I just need to, expand it. But you could do it right here and you could say, hey, let's look and let's find what I need to here. There's combat, exploration. So I could close these down and I could just do the room features here or the room contents here. And I could just roll all of these and keep that up, go back to my journal and say, hey, I'm going to go down to the bottom here and I'm going to roll a 1D100, roll it. So I rolled a 57. So then I would just scroll to this and I could then type it out in my journal. And I think one of the things that's cool, if you want to journal this, you could copy, I think, and paste that. Maybe not. Thought you could, but maybe not. Sorry, I'm trying to do some of these things as I work with you. Yeah, that worked. So you can do that here. You can also, I know I'm jumping around a little bit, but you could also go back here. And if you pull in the rooms and create the maps, like go into this apartment block. So let me minimize this for a second. So here's the apartment block, right? So you can create, I showed this in another video, you can create a campaign asset. Let's add campaign asset and let's call it, room 1, the first room we explore. So I could add a picture or a token. I wonder if I could find, right now I have letters. Let's see if I can find number. Yeah, so I have all these markers that, again, these are a token set I bought. Let's do marker 1. Oh, well, I can do this for I could do this for any number, but the point is you could then make it as, is it unique? Yes. Make it as static? Yes. But in the document, you could add a document, call it description, and let's make it a rich text document, say okay. And then I think, I could paste my room description here. So once you have that and you've got this asset, then let's just say that's the first room I explore. Now you can always go back to it. And if you click on it, I think I'm just not doing it quite right. But I know you can probably just make this bigger. Yeah, there you go. I double clicked on it and it pulls up the room description. So super cool. So that, trying to think if there's anything else. But yeah, you've got all your tables. You've got your memory. So I did put in the tables. So I think going back to my assets, they might let me include all the tables because it'd be really hard for you to run a game just looking at these tables. But this way, I can include all the tables I have, but not the tables that have like 100 entries. So I think that might be a good compromise. I think I'm going to call it there. I love Under Ashen Skies. I'm going to try to play a game with it using the Sojour rule set. So I'll keep you posted if I'm able to talk to Alex and if Alan and Alex will allow me to either put it in as I have or maybe just a little bit less detail that I have in here. And yeah, hopefully you can play Under Ashen Skies. And if not, I've kind of given you a roadmap how to set it up and you can do it yourself. So until next time, thanks for watching.